Openness to experience. In early youth he worked and traveled to many different towns and cities. Now he fears social situations like entering a house he does not know, but he was uncomfortable in the unknown partly when a youth. Never so much as today. His personality was mangled like the metal of the car that crashed. Aristotle said, society is something that precedes the individual. So, society comes first? True, I say. In fact, and from my perspective, society is one force to be reckoned with. The society that molded and sculpted me, then harmed me, then destroyed me. Other innocent people, or not so innocent, continue as if there is nothing wrong. It is all in your mind, they say. Society is made up of people from different environments, families, and relationships. All have a different perspective on life and how things should be. If you have trauma in your family, you will view your neighbors differently from newlyweds would, or as new parents would. Friendship. There is an elemental need to belong, say Lydia Denworth in her book, Friendship. The evolution, biology, and extraordinary power of life's fundamental bond. I decided after a lull to write about something extremely important to me, but that which I am momentarily lacking. I write better when I have something of massive sentimentality to me. This moment has lasted far too long. I am lonely and remember all the pro-life things that friends allow to enter my life. I have met acquaintances who resist demonstrating the sublime attributes and deliverance that I am looking for. I know this is not exaggerated thinking, as I have received all I ever wanted from mates before and have lived long enough to know true qualities when they are displayed. The biggest reason I don't have friends is, I think, because I have a disability. Heaven knows how these people would have reacted to me in the early days. That was what you call a disability, before rehab. Although many people say they don't hold any stigma, like it or not, unless you are a person with a disability, you don't know the truth. My experience is that society tends to unconsciously underestimate people with disabilities, so much so, that many people will not even regard people like me as potential friends that can offer anything worthwhile. I also have a form of mental health and past intoxicated behavior which confirmed people's false prejudices. I have so much to offer, but only relax enough to reveal most of my real self when I am totally comfortable and connected through receiving enough reciprocal vibes. This is the truth. None of us really appreciate the importance of friendship for living life at its best. Attachment is vital to some degree at all ages, because there is a basic drive to connect. I would even go further and say that we were made for friendship. We fail to realize this until we walk in the shoes of experience. Like disability, no friends is an invisible soul destroyer. The many studies on childhood development, orphanages, and childhood neglect show point blank that without attachment there is a deterioration of health leading to severe illness and in some cases death. Attachment is life-giving. Children need love to flourish, which basically affects their whole life and physiology, which determines their future life pathway. Relationships matter and are essential to life. You have got to learn how to love if you are to learn how to live. A unifying theory explains the behavior of all species that even stretches to humans. Enough humans have demonstrated this behavior that this is known as human nature. Evolution goes over the same relationship building in both ants and primates. Altruism is major, but some ants don't form social relations but dedicate their time to service. Reciprocal altruism is rewarded, which seems to be determined by genetics, which goes on to affect social behavior. All human acts may ultimately be selfish. In the first 1,000 days of life, children have a preference for faces and voices as social communication begins. Touch is the most developed sense in a newborn. A child who receives no intimacy or contact will sure enough have issues emotionally, biologically, neurologically, socially, and physically. Effective touch is a significant role, forging connections and increasing survival. I had a very social attitude as an infant, bringing together the whole school in a mass game of football and demonstrating other social aptitudes. But life for me changed at 7 years old. And I share this as one of the 3 only justifiable research-driven reasons for my older issues in socialization. The second reason was created when I drank and drove, resulting in a severe car crash, and the third is a spiritual reason. Disability induced new realities in every realm, compounding already troubled emotions, cognition, and relationships. Disability encouraged a diffused society and perception of that scene. Fact of environment and lifestyle and social integration or isolation determine physiology and health. Any demand for change can lead to stress, so these as well as social relations are connected to health because stress and social isolation are two of the biggest causes for mortality. Cigarettes and death, lack of social support both have a 2-to-1 connection to mortality. Social factors trigger differences in physiology, relationships, and alter physical responses to stress. Lack of social contact is the reason for my pathologies. Loneliness has cellular connections to what is meant by to be fully human. Mortality and depression are good arguments I can put to my social worker for extra support. Control and participation are crucial for health, well-being, and longevity that all follow a social gradient. People who perceive high support show less cardiovascular aging. Everything psychological is biological. The social environment decides which genes are expressed. I am a very social person, meaning that I love to be in conversation with those I like. My support or isolation switches on or suppresses the expression and activation of the genome. I recognize the sustenance I get from other people, which is enough to warrant extra support. I get that. I know that I need to get out more and I am growing toward that goal. But the support I have has got me on this path of increased belief in myself and confidence. I very much need this support and disagree strongly with those who refuse such support.